Now I'm stitching the tail. There are a few different tail options depending on which view you've chosen. This is for view A and D. I'm making view D the kitten or cat, so this is my pattern piece. The steps for sewing them are all just a little bit different, so again, you want to make sure you follow the steps for your view. So I'm going to be stitching my tail pieces together. I'll put my fabric right sides together and match up all the raw edges. Then it says I'm going to be leaving the straight edge open. So that is this short edge up here, at the where the tail will connect to the body. So I'll make sure I have my fabric edges all lined up, and then I'm going to stitch this on the sewing machine using a 5/8 inch seam allowance. I stitched this on my sewing machine with a 5/8 inch seam allowance. Then because I had some outward or convex curves, I notched around those to help it turn out smooth when I turn it right side out. And then on this inward or concave curve, I clipped those. Then I'm ready to turn it right side out. Then I can carefully use my dowel. I'm going to use the flat end to help me push this all out. Then I'll press my tail with the iron, making sure the seam is right on the edge. I can kind of roll it to get all the fabric pushed out. I want to make sure there's no fabric hiding inside here. Now I need to add some stuffing to my tail piece, and it says following the stuffing instructions. And so the recommendations it gives you is, rather than just taking big clumps of polyfill or stuffing, that you can gently pull it apart to fluff and separate the fibers, and then fill like smaller areas or points first, which for us will be down here. And then our tool will also help as we try to get the stuffing down there. And so this will take you a little bit of time, but if you do kind of fluff out the fibers before putting it into your tail, then that will help you have a better end result as you're filling it. And then it says pack and shape the fiber fill with your hands until the seams are fully expanded. So it should be stuffed pretty full, not so that my seams are bursting and they look like they're about to rip, but just so that it's kind of firm and the seams are pushed out and you have this nice rounded shape in your tail. So kind of like this, but I'd want that to be the whole thing. Now I have the tail filled with polyfill and stuffed, and see how it does that nice three-dimensional shape. And then I'm going to close the opening now. It says to fold the tail so the seams match. So that means this seam and this seam are right on top of each other. And then I have the seam allowances just going opposite directions. And then it says to just baste across here so it's closed. So I'll do that on the sewing machine. Next, it says to pin the tail to the right body section, and then you might ask yourself, how do I know which is the right side? So if I look at the diagram in my guide sheet, that will help me. This darker gray is the right side of the fabric, meaning the right side is facing up, and then I can see the 3 notches are here on the left. So I have my pattern piece, here's my 3 notches with the right side up, the dart's also over here, that tells me I have it in the right place. And then I'm going to pin on the tail or use clips, and it says match the small dots. Then my small dot on the pattern piece is here, and here it is on the right side, and then the dot on my tail is on the edge, so here. So I'll line that up like this. I'll put on a clip to hold it in place, and then I'm going to baste the tail to the body piece on the sewing machine. Remember that a baste is using a longer stitch length and it's just a temporary stitch. I don't need a back stitch, and I'm just sewing to hold these together before I move on to the next step.